Hi, I'm Mary. I've been with my company for many years. At almost 53 years old, I've become used to the ways things have been done. Recently, I've heard rumors that the company is planning to move into new business areas and will be looking to build new teams and introduce new processes. I'm really worried I cannot handle all these changes. How can I cope with the new technologies like AI and the new company culture? Will I be redundant?
Thanks for clicking on this short video. This is an extraction from a longer video of a workshop. The link to this longer video is in the description below. There, we discuss other facets of the same issue discussed here. Do take a look too.
So you can see that Mary is very worried because there's the bosses, the company is saying, we're gonna have to introduce something new, right? Mary, you're gonna have to work in a different way, you're gonna have to do things differently, right? And that's causing her a lot of concerns. Okay? So let's start the first step here first, as far as the change management process is concerned. This is what? Dealing with the current situation. The things that Mary is experiencing because of the changes in her work environment. Okay? So that's the first step. So firstly, let's understand this. Okay? If you are undergoing something similar to Mary, and I saw changes happening in the workplace, what does it mean? What does it mean to someone like Mary when she's hearing that, the company has to modify the processes, put in new technologies? What does it mean to someone like Mary? Layoff potential could be adapting to new processes. What else? What else do you think it means to her? What else do you think it means to her? Termination, fear of loss. Well, those are the feelings, right? But if you look at it, as far as Mary is concerned, it basically means a lot of new things coming in. A lot of new things coming in, right? New processes, new technology, possibly new colleagues even. And what happens after all that? Potentially a new culture as well. A new culture as well. Okay? And then that evokes certain feelings, right? Many of you already mentioned that in the chat box just now. The feelings of confusion, she's scared, she's anxious, and sometimes the changes can overwhelm someone like her. Yeah? Because, all the new things are coming in. Oh no, what's happening to me? Okay? Which then leads to some of the major concerns which many of you have written in the chat box as well. Okay? The chat box the concerns of whether is there a gap in her skills? Will she be made redundant? Will she fit into the new culture with the new team, the new bosses? She's going to be very uncomfortable. Can she cope? Right? So essentially, if you look at it, she has to deal with what's happening to her right now. Then, recognizing all these factors, then she must think, how can she overcome this? So it's essentially coming down to what is her change state? Is she considering change or is she not considering change? Let's deal with the first one first. If she's not considering change, why? Why is she not considering it? What can we do to help her overcome this inertia to accept the change? For those of you, if you are undergoing such a similar experience, what do you think? Well, perhaps largely it's down to denial that, this change cannot happen to me. Or maybe she's not aware of the implications of the change or awareness of the implications that the change can be beneficial to her as well. And how can we overcome this? How can we help her overcome this? How can she overcome this? Essentially is what? Getting more awareness, right? Whether it's through feedback or whether it's through so-called education about the impact of the changes that's going to happen to her. Yeah? First things first, Mary have to understand the reality that's happening now. What is the reality? Companies need to survive. And in order to survive, they must change. Why? Because there's so many things happening around them that if they don't change, they are in trouble. Yeah? Let me show you this video. When change happens, it is a very natural reaction for us to think, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? How am I going to cope? We start thinking about all the negative things. But when we start thinking about why the change needs to happen, then we can start realizing that actually, if I don't cope with the change, if I don't adapt to the change, it may be worse even for me down the line, okay, if I don't do anything about it. And it may be even worse for the company and my colleagues as well. Yeah? The other reality here is this. Okay? AI. Some of you mentioned the fear of AI. AI is transforming the workplace in Singapore. And this report has discussed this. And this report has actually said that Singaporeans are among the highest users of AI at work. If you imagine someone like Mary, who refuses to then leverage on AI, she's going to be left behind, right? If you are saying, I don't want to use AI or I'm worried about AI, you need to get on the bandwagon because otherwise you'll be left behind. That is a reality. That is a reality. Okay? So hopefully, if any of you are not considering modifying your behavior, modifying the way you think as when change happens, go and find out more about why is it happening. What is the impact on you and the people surrounding you? Okay? Now, let's talk about if you are saying, yes, I want to do something about this, change is coming, I want to do something about this, right? But you may not be sure what's happening out there. You're not too certain. Best way to do this, to overcome this, is to weigh up the pros and cons and talk to people, talk to your network, talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, right? Get their sense as well, right? Sometimes maybe you just need a little bit of support to push you to the next step and say, yes, I'm going to do something about it. Okay? So it is about your state of change, your state of mind to adapting to change. All right. Now, the other thing that I would encourage someone like Mary to do is to really focus down on what matters to her, what is really important to her, right? So first thing here is talking about success. What does success mean to Mary? Is it money? Is it free time? Is it feeling comfortable? Is it promotion? She has to think about it. How is it going to impact the people around her, her family, right? Who is she doing this for, right? What do they need from her? What do I want the people, my loved ones, the people around me to feel about me? Right? Opportunities. What opportunities will be created as a result of this change? What opportunities will be created as a result of this change? Okay? I'm going to share with you a little example of David. David was someone who appeared in our last webinar on this particular topic. He gave the example of how he looks at things that matter to him. Okay, so things like, as far as success is concerned, for David, he's saying, I want to be appreciated by my colleagues and boss. Success means career growth. Okay, I want to be able to move to a new role as smoothly as I can, and I want to have peace of mind. David was undergoing a lot of stress and strain because of the new thing going to be introduced into his company. He was an accountant, right? And they're introducing new processes into this company. So he had to reevaluate, what does success mean to him? What about the people around him? As far as he is concerned, he hopes that his colleagues still continues to have confidence in him, in his competencies, in his abilities. But also very important to him is what? That his family is provided for and his family is happy. Okay? And the last one is opportunities. Okay? What is the opportunity presented to him as a result of those changes? He said to himself, I can learn new skills which I can use in other areas. I can explore new areas like fintech. Okay? And I can find new ways to help not only my colleagues but other companies as well. And all these can be transferable. All these can be transferable. Okay? As a result of this, the overview is what? The overview is that he's able to build credibility, he's able to express how good he is, and that's what matters to him. That's what matters to him. So if you look at it, once someone like Mary considers all the factors that are important to her, considers how she can move beyond her change state from one that is not wanting to change to one that she accepts change and she wants to move forward. Now is the second part of the change management process. How to move on. How to move on. Right? So the first thing we have to look at is what is possible for someone like Mary. Consider this. She is experiencing a lot of changes in her workplace. What is possible for her? What is possible for her? Those of you who are experiencing this, you may have the same thoughts. She might say, I could probably go into a new role. Okay? Maybe my job scope will be modified. Or I can just quit, go to a different company. Right? Or I can work at it and retrain myself. The last one, which many people are very tempted to do, I do nothing and hope for the best. But this is the worst outcome that you can have if you are experiencing changes like what Mary is going through. right? But it is a possibility for you, right? If you want to consider that. It may not be the best way, but it is on the table for you. So you have to consider all this. Right. Once you have done all this, then you start thinking, what do you need to do? What does Mary need to do to move to the next step as well? She has to reevaluate already. She has to reevaluate what she brings to the table. Okay, her value add. Right? What problems she can help the company with. Is there a skills gap? Does she need to plug that skills gap? She needs to know what's happening in the marketplace. She needs to know what's happening in the marketplace, but also within her company. So she cannot disengage herself from the company. Many people tend to do that. When a company says, I'm introducing a lot of new things, many people tend to say, oh, I don't want to be part of this. I disengage myself from this. And that is the worst thing that you can do. Okay? You will need to integrate yourself into the new processes, the new thing that's happening. Perfectionism. Some of us feel that we cannot do something unless we are really good at it. Modify this way of thinking. Start looking at how you can make small steps, right? Mistakes will happen along the way, but don't let that fear of making a mistake stop you from taking one step at a time. Okay? So, do away with perfectionism. Integrate this sense of progress by taking manageable small steps. Okay? Now, the next part, which I think is the most important part as well in terms of moving forward, is really this notion of understanding what resources you need to help you move forward. So in this case, because it is an internal process, it's an internal change that's happening to Mary, she could possibly seek advice from HR, right? From her supervisor, right? She could possibly go to a career coach and say, what are my options on the table, outside of the company? She should probably also talk to her network and see, hey, what's happening in the marketplace? What can you tell me about what's happening there? Is your company undergoing the same thing, right? And what are the people experiencing? What was the result of that thing that happened to your company as well? Okay, so Mary can do this. So this is the process of moving forward. So if you look at it, this change management process is really about dealing with the current, dealing with the present, right? Seeking a way to overcome the inertia that the present situation may be forcing upon you, and then moving ahead, right? Examining all the options available to you, what you need to do, and what help you need. All right? Now, a possibility on the table for Mary, which I mentioned earlier, is what? She could probably redesign her work scope, or she could change her career to a totally different path. Now, these are topics of a separate workshop altogether, okay? And basically another couple of 3-hour sessions there. We should talk about how you redesign your work, how you develop a career switching strategy. Okay? Now, let's take a review of Mary's situation. Basically, this is something that she has to prepare for because she anticipates the changes that's coming on. Right? In the CMP, the change management process, the first thing we have to look at is how we deal with the current situation. Right? What is the meaning? What does it mean to someone like Mary that this thing is happening to her? Recognize the feelings that she has. Okay? Recognize the concerns that comes up. Okay? Don't ignore it. Don't push it one side and say it's irrelevant. No, we have to recognize all that. Right? How to overcome this? We have to find out the reality that's happening out there, the implications of staying still or moving forward. Find out what is really important to her, right? And how the change can impact those things that are important to her. And most importantly, don't do this yourself. Find help, find support. Once she feels comfortable, Mary feels comfortable on moving forward, then we look at the action stages. Okay? Identify what's possible for her, right? Develop steps and activities to help her decide and produce the outcomes that she wants. If she needs help, go for the help, right? But the priority here for her, someone like Mary, when you are doing all this, you want to set goals and activities which are achievable. Because remember, one of the things that stops someone in her situation from moving forward is the fact that it's too daunting, it's overwhelming, right? So in order to make it less daunting, less overwhelming, do it in manageable steps. Okay, so let's hear from Mary and what she has to say.
With all the changes coming, I've been looking at what's important for me. At my age, it'll take some effort to adjust. But I'm thankful for the support I've gotten from my family and my colleagues. I can see that my company needs to move with the times in order to survive, and I need to focus on the opportunities that can come about. Not all change is bad, Honestly, I'm pretty excited about what can happen next.
Hopefully, after going through these steps, you would have a sense of the positive possibilities that you can have if you adapt to the changes. Okay? Like what Mary has just mentioned.
Hi! Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you've seen and can't wait for the next one, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel in the link below. See you soon!